Thanks to Avro Meadowland. Now we're joined by the voice of rugby league, Ray Warren. Rabs, g'day, mate. How are you?
Rick, good, thank you, mate. What's happening? You're Tamworth.
Tamworth now, mate. Been a couple of years since I've spoken to you.
Yeah, we had a beer, didn't we? At
We
Barrow
did.
or something?
Yeah, the Barrow Wallabies, their launch, mate. Yeah, back in the day in the Manly comp when they were a powerhouse.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah,
I think I was guest speaking or something.
You were, mate. You were. It was fantastic, yeah, and it's good to be speaking with you right now.
All right, well, that's nice.
Mate, Bo Ryan's decided to call it a day. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think Bo was showing signs of wear and tear, and I think eventually when something just won't go away without a long rest period, and when you're at his age, then of course you've got to make up your mind. Is it the family? Is it my future? Is it my health? Is it the football? So he decided to go with family and health, and I applaud him for that. But the thing about Bo that makes it easy to make the decision is that he's got a guaranteed job at Channel 9.
And he's very good at it too.
He is. He's going to be used, I think, in other areas. I mean, he reminds me a bit of a Paul Hogan, way back when. So it wouldn't be hard for Bo to retire from football, given that he's going to walk into I think a bigger pay packet at Channel 9 anyway. Yeah,
no, he's. James Tedesco turned down the Canberra Raiders. That's fantastic news for the West Tigers. Do you think, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm happy for the boy. I'm disappointed in the process. To me, once you shake hands, then that's a contract. You don't have to sign on the bottom of the page, but the silly part about all of this is I wonder how so many of these kids, and yeah, you can pull out. There's nothing wrong with pulling out. People call it reneging, and it is reneging in one sense of the word, but until the close of play at the end of round 13, there's a rule that says you can pull out. It's like a cooling off period that you get if you buy a house. Real estate people would know what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, I just wonder what these managers of these young kids say to them, because one of the chief beneficiaries of a contract as big as the one that James Tedesco was offered would have been the manager, and he's on a fairly hefty percentage. And I wonder, do these managers put themselves in the position of the mother, the father, the brother, the sister? In other words, James, had he have spoken to his mum and dad and his family and all these mates we're reading about that he plays with at West Tigers, had he have had time to go and talk to them, he probably would have said, I can't do this, I've got to stay here.
Yeah, absolutely, but it is
I just wonder whether these managers en masse, and I'm not picking on one manager, I'm wondering whether they really take the kid deep into his psyche and say, now, are you sure you want to do this? You're going to be leaving your mates, you're going to be leaving mum and dad, you're going to be leaving the family home, you're going to be leaving your girlfriend or your partner, all of this. So I don't know. I don't know the workings of it, but to me, I'm sorry for Canberra, but I remember that Canberra's done it themselves anyway in the past.
Yeah, they have, and I suppose these managers, all they do is look at their commission. Origin 1, which was a little bit over a week ago on a Wednesday night, would that be one of the finest games of rugby league you've had the privilege to call?
Yes, it was, without any doubt. In fact, I'd probably go a step further. It's the best Origin night I think I can remember. If you remember the pre-match build-up, which was probably a memorial to Arthur Beetson, I think with the pre-match build-up and the venue being Suncorp, captured the atmosphere, then the game lived up to the curtain raiser, if you like. It was a most enjoyable night. But as far as toughness is concerned, it was almost horrific how those players were asked to go 80 minutes through all of that.
Yeah, it was. And Jared Hayne, what an amazing player he was for that Origin.
Look, he's got no greater admirer. I've only got one picture of a footballer hanging in my office, and it's Jared Hayne.
Oh, really?
Well, that's probably my daughter. She's 16, she loves him, but I love him too. But I just wish Jared, and I said this on radio to him the other night, I think Jared's biggest problem is he doesn't know how important he is. And that's why sometimes people think he goes missing. But he can't afford to go missing because he is the Prime Minister. and you've got to be on the front foot. You've got to be there all the time. That's what makes Slater as good as he is. Slater is there on every play.
No, well, he certainly is. And look, you've only got to look at I think it was last Saturday night or Friday night. Parramatta didn't have him, and Penrith
absolutely.
Penrith gave him a rugby league lesson.
Well, I can give you the figures there. They've played 27 matches without Jared Hayne, either through origin or injury, and I think they've won a grand total of 4 from 27.
Yep, so he needs to be on the park and needs to be...
Yeah, he does, but he needs to put himself in the game more and more. Now, he did that in Origin 1, and that's what we're all talking about, and that's what we were talking about in 2009.
Yep, all right, so if he does it for Origin 2, New South Wales should be able to get the series?
No, I'm worried about it, mate, to be honest with you. I think apart from what Jared Hayne did, I just think the Morris brothers, I know Boyd scored 2 tries down that side, but the Morris brothers did a magnificent job overall. Now, how you replace them, I don't know. I mean, I can give you all the equations that you could move Hayne into the centres, you can put Beau Scott in the centres. He's been there before, and they got beaten, I think, 3-blot in the series. You can put Hopewadi there, but I don't know that he's had enough football. Dylan Walker, I thought he got showed up in City Country by a very big bloke called Jamal Idris. So I'm just making all these points to you. The bloke they have to mark is Greg Inglis. And there's another problem. Inglis might play fullback. Now you can't mark him.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So I'm not at all confident about wrapping it up.
Looking forward to see where it does go. What are your thoughts on taking Origin games away from New South Wales and Queensland? I think
it's wrong. I think it's wrong because really it's a bit like you come from Tamworth, I come from Castle Hill, and we should have the fight. We should have the fight either in Tamworth or Castle Hill today, and then we'll fight again in a month's time up at Tamworth. It's a blue between New South Wales and Queensland. Look, it's all very well to say, let's promote the game elsewhere, but, Melbourne, they'll have a slight interest in rugby league as long as rugby league is down there, and that depends on the Melbourne Storm and its survival. And yeah, they'll come to an Origin match at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, but we're turning our back on the fans from New South Wales and Queensland that are the lifeblood day in and day out.
No, here.
The benefactors are Qantas, Virgin, Jetstar, and the Melbourne hotels. They're the beneficiaries.
Yeah, no. Here. Tonight sees possibly a grand final preview at Brookvale Oval. What are your thoughts on this game tonight? 1v3, the Bulldogs and Manly. I think you're calling that game too, aren't you?
Yeah, I am calling it, but I need to know whether Daly Cherry Evans will play, and they're playing their cards pretty close to their chest. I think Manly can beat Canterbury anywhere, anytime, if they have their best side. But I don't know whether Watmo's playing. He says he is. If he does, he's going to be playing wounded. I don't know whether Daly Cherry Evans is playing, and the list goes on. While I know that Canterbury is pretty much 1 through 17. Tonight, I'd rather stay out. I don't know until you give me the final acceptances. I don't know.
All right, mate. It's always a privilege to talk to you. Thanks for your time this afternoon.
No, it's a pleasure.